Alright, first things first, take off the bumper.
I'm just taking off my bumper. There is screws on the bottom, and then on top there's plastic clips that you need to take out, and then there is 2 little plastic clips on each side of the bumper you want to take off, and then usually it's just a 10mm little wrench.
I have about 1, let's see, 2, 3, and 4 little screws that I take out. You're gonna need a little extension to get that one.
And then it's time to unplug the bulbs.
Okay, so I think I only have 3 screws on here, so there's 1, 2, and 3.
And then these headlights came from factory with, what is it called, Permaseal. So when I first retrofitted them, I did reseal them up with butyl. That way the next time I open them, it's going to be way faster and easier to open because Permaseal is a bitch.
I have to take off these little grommets. Cool.
And then you're going to want to preheat your oven to about 210 degrees. And then for my headlights, I want them resting on wood. I don't want them resting on that nasty, gunky stuff that we have in our ovens. And then I'm going to leave them in for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then for my headlights, or the wires are showing, so I want to wrap them inside. That way, you know, it's not touching the oven or burning. And then when 15 minutes have passed, you are ready to take out the headlights, and be careful because it's going to be super hot. And then once I take it out the oven, I'm going to use a flathead to try to create an opening. As you can see, you just saw like that, the melted butyl, and it's going to be way easier to open. Like, oh my gosh, it took me 2 hours for each headlight to open Permaseal. But at this point, I don't really give a fuck. I am bending the crap out of this plastic, but it's okay because it'll melt and be perfect at the end of this video. And then I actually didn't record me opening up the first headlight. I think, I don't know, that clip was lost. And then as soon as I said I don't give a fuck with the plastic, I really, the flathead went right through the little black freaking part. I don't know what to call it. And then I wanted to leave the full clip of me opening up the headlights. Literally, it only took me 2 minutes, but that's 2 minutes of boringness. Look at how fast butyl opens compared to Permaseal. Permaseal, I would have had to throw it back in the ovens to warm it back up to work on one side at a time. Like, look at that. It looks like string sheets. It's amazing. And then when you open it, you want to make sure you cut through those strings because you don't want them to be touching the inside of your headlight. It's a freaking painful process to have to clean. Now I'm just cleaning up the little strings and taking out the wiring to take out my old halos. And then while the headlight is still hot, I'm going to use a flathead to smoothen down the butyl. That way it's going to be easier to put the headlight back together. But at the end I do add more butyl just to be safe.
Okay, so we're going to replace these old halos that I got a while ago to these amazing... Oh, fudge! And then we're going to also install some Demon Eyes. Hopefully, you know, I can get this right and not drop anything. Okay. Here are the older ones from Morimoto. Alright, so I already took out the little wiring and stuff for these previous halos, so out with the old. And in with the new.
And then I have my boyfriend helping me drill new holes of where the halos are going to be mounted. And he did this several times. I want to say like 4 new holes. But, you know, I didn't want to keep that whole long clip in here because that's just too much and that's so boring. And then the wire that we are using is from the TheRetrofitSource. Everything we use is basically from TheRetrofitSource. And then he's just basically wiring it in and out, and then at the back he's gonna twist it.
Now that we have the halos mounted and tied up, we are going to just cut the wire, the excess wire, and then we're going to use this little heat resistant little tape thing. Just tape it down. This is not my favorite part, so I hate doing it. Can barely even tell. Oh, never mind.
Next is Demon Eyes, but before we install Demon Eyes, you're going to have to get the projector out of the black housing. So there's 3 clips on mine. I did a horrible job filming it, but it's basically, I think I talk about it. It's that clip, and then it's like you pinch in with the flathead. And then that's the next clip up there. And then the last clip is like a rectangle looking clip. It's that one right there. And then when you do this, you want to like slowly work on each side. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to get out. And then we're drilling a hole for where we're going to install our Demon Eyes. And we just kind of eyeballed it. You can try to guess and mark the spot. We just went for it. YOLO. And then once you drill the hole, we are going to get ready to basically screw on the Demon Eyes, and then you're going to need an Allen key because your fingers are not going to be small enough to tighten it, and you don't want it loose. No one likes it loose. And once it's secure, you want to connect it to Bluetooth and turn it on just to make sure it's working right. And then we're going to use an air hose to air out any debris that got stuck in there while we were drilling.
Usually with Demon Eyes it comes with this little reflector thing, but in my case my headlights actually already come with that, so I just drilled it into that. There's room left, so no wires are getting crushed. Before we put it back together, you're going to want to wipe it down in case any dust was caught in here. And then you see these little holes, we are gonna reseal them up with JB Weld.
And then for the JB Weld, you just kind of want to move it around in your fingers and kind of warm it up to soften it so it's easier to apply. And then we're just going to apply it to the tabs. And these tabs hold the lens and the frame together, so you want to make sure it's actually real secure and that it's not going to be moving when you put the headlights together. I forgot to mention that before we threw them in the ovens, we added more butyl, and then we threw them in the ovens for about 10 more minutes, and then we are using this clamp to tighten it to the best of our ability. And then we threw them in 2 times for each headlight. That way we can work on one side and then throw them in again and then work on the other side. And then after it's sealed, we want to connect the Demon Eyes again just because we're obsessed with it. Like, look how amazing that looks. It looks so good.
It's lighting though.
Alright, and then here I have my boyfriend doing all the electrical work because I'm not really good at that stuff. So basically he cut off the stock spade connectors that come on the halo drivers and is replacing them with T-taps. So you can tap the halo driver into the turn signal wiring. And then here I am, I'm just putting my headlights back and tightening it up. And then I'm putting my bumper back. And I'm just so happy that it works. Here is a clip of my halos. And then my Demon Eyes. It's so beautiful. And then here are my sequential strips as well. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and also follow the Retrofit Source because we're going to be hosting a giveaway soon.